What's going on right here is absolutely inconceivable. It is astounding. It is unimaginable. It is... well, words fail. Literally, words fail. And yet typically most of us don't notice that. Typically, most of us approach this astounding, inconceivable condition as if it was humdrum, as if it was boring, as if it was a dull normalcy that we fumble through trying to find sort of small pleasures and small achievements and avoid suffering and failure, usually with very mixed success. But in actuality, what this is, this right here, this actual event that's happening right here, right now, is astounding, inconceivable, amazing. You know, there are not adequate superlatives to begin to indicate this, to begin to capture this. And the only reason that most of us don't notice this, most of us don't perceive how incredible this is because we already think we know what it is, and so we censor our experience. We only pay attention to those portions of our experience that we think are important, things having to do with our lives, things having to do with success, things having to do with gratification, things having to do with our personal agendas that we think have value as little human beings in this vast universe that is largely hostile or indifferent or certainly inert and generally not particularly interesting. But if we can let ourselves actually see, actually notice what this is, how astounding this is, how inconceivable this is, and that this inconceivability is our constant condition. It's our actual environment. It is our actual nature. It is our actual embodiment. The implications and the nature of what this is, of what we are, removes the context of all problems, removes the context of all suffering, removes the context of all failure. What this actually is completely indescribable. And yet we can very vaguely indicate it, perhaps by noticing that it's an astounding explosion of energy appearing in inconceivable infinite consciousness. That sounds very abstract, doesn't it? It sounds, gosh, that sounds great. If you read that in the book, it's like, oh, that sounds cool, where's that happening? But this explosion of energy is just your immediate experience right here, right now. You're experiencing a field of vision. You're experiencing a field of light in your consciousness right now. What does that mean? What is light? How is this happening? What is it made of? What is experiencing it? Where is it appearing? What is the actual dynamism of this condition, of these circumstances? We usually completely ignore that aspect. I'm just interested in what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people, or are they interested in me? Do they give a shit? Can I impress them? Can I get money from them? Can I, avoid having them inflict pain and suffering on me? But actually, there's no people here. There's this field of light. There's this field of vision, and in the imagination, we effortlessly turn that into seeing a bunch of people. We're all, of course, intimately familiar with this when we dream. Every night, most of us dream. And in a dream, there's an astounding apparition out of nothing of an entire environment, very convincing environment. There can be people there can be situations there can be apparently complex events. And of course, actually, there's no people there. There's no people in a dream. There's no events in a dream. There's no environment in a dream, even though it appears as if that was the case, and our imagination readily abstracts that from our experience of this astounding energy presence, which a dream actually is. But we don't notice that it's an astounding energy presence typically, and we just go to it as some circumstance that we're invested in. We're trying to avoid pain, we're trying to get some success, we're trying to find some pleasure, we're trying to, navigate with some energies that we seem to find valuable or are trying to avoid. But none of those things are actually there in a dream, are they? A dream is just this bizarre, miraculous mirage that appears in nothing. That's the only thing that's actually there. This amazing radiation of an inconceivable presence in consciousness. That's what a dream is. When we wake up, we know this. You think back on a dream. It was a dream. There was nothing there. It was a dream. There was no one there. And yet, exactly the same thing, exactly the same mechanism is happening right here, right now. You are experiencing a field of energies, let's call it. And you may break those down you may say, I'm experiencing light, I'm experiencing sound, I'm experiencing touch, I'm experiencing taste and smell, I'm experiencing a field of thought, I'm experiencing maybe other subtle little weird vibes or whatever. The fact is, you don't know what you're experiencing. It's a bizarre, miraculous presence. And to say it's light, do you know what light is? Anyone here know what light is? Anyone here can just, give us the definition, the final word on exactly what light is? The greatest physicists that ever lived don't know what light is. And if society continued, which I personally kind of doubt, in a few thousand years, with advancement, you get the greatest physicists of that age and ask them what light is. They're not going to know either, because there's no final word on what this is. It's a miracle. How can you get a final word on a miracle? That's just light. We have all other qualities of apparition that we maintain are appearing as our experience. And we think we have the arrogance to think we know what they are, so we normalize them. We turn them into a condition of normalcy or dullness. Oh, it's just light. Of course, I'm seeing light. There's always light. The lights are on. Big deal. And by doing so, we render a literal miracle into dullness, into stupidity, into irrelevance. And we do this with every aspect of our experience. Matter, What's matter? What's light? What's thought? What's communication? All these things are inconceivable. No one knows what they are. No one can know what they are because they transcend themselves. There's no final version of them. They're literally infinite. When you look into what anything is, it doesn't converge to a certainty, to a simplicity. On the contrary, the more you look at what anything is, the more it opens up into more. And then you look at a portion of that, and that portion opens up into more. So you're just, it's like a mirage. It just keeps receding ahead of you. You never get to the bottom of it. You never get, oh yeah, I finally found out what it is. Now I know what light is. You look at light and you investigate it, and it's like, the fantasy is it's going to converge, and then, oh yeah, that's light. And now I know what it is. But the more you look at it, the weirder it becomes. It just gets stranger and stranger and stranger. And this is not a failure of investigation. This is what it actually is. It is a miraculous open-endedness. In Buddhism, of course, they call that emptiness or the void or various other terminologies, which is all very nice and poetic and technical, but it's just a way of saying that, what is this? What is this? And just noticing that we don't know, opens the door to directly experiencing what this really is. Because in that not knowing, it can show us what it is. But of course, we're usually busy telling it what it is. Oh, this is the Hillside Club. It's Berkeley, But this is, some spiritual talk or other. And afterwards, you go out and you have a beer. You go home and you watch some TV and go to bed, read a book. And tomorrow, it's another day, another dollar. But if we could just let go of all that for a second and just look around at this absolute unknown. Right here, right now. It's not some unknown, some metaphorical unknown or some abstraction of unknown. It's an unknown that's in your face. It's an obvious unknown. It's a blatant unknown. It's this incredible, inconceivable presence that is just stupefying. That is, the only appropriate action is to just scream wow or break out laughing or faint or ignore it and go get a beer.